Hello and welcome to the Mill. I am your host, Dusty Crane, and this week I just wanted to touch base with you and talk a little bit of Stonemaier news and also discuss last week's video because I got some feedback on that and I'd like to know what you think. But first, let's go ahead and do Stonemaier news because that's what we're here for, right? The first thing I have here is Red Rising has started to arrive at people's house. I know we're still waiting in US and Canada for that freight shipping to come in. It's been a little bit slower than expected, or maybe a lot of bit slower than expected, but people are starting to get a hold of it. And one of the things that has come up, probably expectedly, especially when you draw the comparisons between Red Rising and Fantasy Realms, is one of those two games has an app for scoring, which is amazing. If you haven't played Fantasy Realms, or if you have it and you didn't know that WizKids actually has a scoring app, check it out because it's fantastic and it makes scoring so easy. So naturally, people are getting Red Rising and they're thinking, can we get a scoring app? Because that's the comparison was made and that app is so good. Can we get a scoring app? And well, Jamie has never said we're doing official apps for anything because of all that's involved in that. You know, you wait a long time on developers, everything's kind of delayed. In any case, Jamie did mention that someone's working on one. Now, I do know who it is, but they were a little concerned about putting their name out there because what if nothing comes of it? So I'm going to respect that privacy. I do know that they know what they're doing. So we got that going for us. If anyone's going to get it done, it's going to be this person, and it's going to be amazing. So that we got that to look forward to. In the meantime, if you'd like, there's actually a couple of web-based scoring solutions that are available too. I'll link to those in the description of this show so that you can just go ahead and take a look and see if they meet your need. There's at least one, I think maybe two has popped up. I'll post a link to everyone that I can find in the description here. The next bit of news I had for you was by way of the Stonemaier Ambassador newsletter. Now, normally it's not something that we generally talk about because if you're a Stonemaier Ambassador, you are somebody, anybody can be one, first of all. It's not a subscription or anything like that. If you're somebody who enjoys Stonemaier games, if you're somebody who, has played several of them, teaches them, that kind of thing, if you're somebody who maybe your friends go to for, you're the guy who knows board games, or the girl who knows board games, or somebody who knows board games, then you may be perfect to be a Stonemaier Ambassador. and you have an opportunity to buy a t-shirt, and if you actually have somebody take a picture of you teaching a Stonemaier game wearing the t-shirt, you can get that money refunded to you. But in any case, that's just a little bit about the Stonemaier Ambassador. You didn't even know that you were going to get a primer on that program, but there you are. Here I am talking about it. But there's a newsletter that goes out once a month, and there's a little bit of news in this one that I thought I'd share. This is why we'll get to talking about the teleprompter later in the episode. But in any case, a piece of news that we got in that newsletter was that, Jamie was originally talking about making the announcement for the Between Two Castles and Mad King Ludwig expansion in April. And he's decided to push that back to May to begin talking about that because of how slow the freight shipping on Red Rising is going. If you're still if you're in the US or if you're in Canada, I understand that they're still waiting for that boat to arrive to port, and then we got to distribute it and get it to the places it needs to go so they can start shipping it out. And so Jamie just thought it would be kind of a bad idea to start talking about a new game. Well, maybe some people are still waiting for this pre-order that they already made. Now, we do get Kickstarters, that are selling you their next game before you have the one you just backed, but this is not Kickstarter anymore, right? So, originally we were going to start hearing about Between Two Castles and Mad King Ludwig in April. But now it's going to be pushed back a little bit longer to May, I think it was. I had it on the screen. Now I don't. In any case, that's fine. The production of that title is going just fine. Everything's according to the time frame that it was originally intended to be. Just they're going to hold off on that announcement one more month just to make sure that everyone who pre-ordered Red Rising has that in hand before they start talking about it. Not a bad idea. The next thing, I should have led with this because this brought me so much joy. I'm grinning even talking about it. But so Monster Couch posted on their Facebook wall for Wingspan and said, hey, at 10 a.m. on whatever day it was, if you are in 10 a.m. Eastern, if you're interested, Elizabeth Hargrave is going to be playing Wingspan with some WWE wrestlers. What? It's not really a combination that you put together, right? I'm not typically thinking Elizabeth Hargrave or Wingspan, a board game. Maybe I'm just not thinking a game about birds, this gentle nature theme and wrestling, right? I'm going to toss a link in the description of this too, but I really recommend you taking a look because, man, there's just something charming about that whole dynamic, and it really does lead me to a conclusion that Elizabeth was just such a great ambassador for that game, right? Not only does she promote Wingspan, wherever and whenever, but also with people that you wouldn't necessarily think to pair her up with. Like, she's such a great ambassador, not just to Monster Couch and Wingspan Digital, but to Jamie. And, speaking of which, Jamie just recently did, I think it was a Kickstarter post on his blog, about say yes to every interview. There's some details behind that, and he goes into what he means by that, but it seems like Elizabeth is of the same mind too, because this seems like what I just know that if I had developed a game, and no matter what game, like if it's not about wrestling, because I'm not, I liked wrestling when I was a kid. I've kind of haven't followed it recently, although certainly I think it's entertaining and all those things. But if they said, hey, Dusty, we would really like you to promote the mill. Let's say promote the mill. We would love you to go on this, this show with these WWE wrestlers. I would be intimidated like crazy, but not Elizabeth, no problem at all. In fact, it's really funny, and it's actually at the very beginning of the clip, so you can see it. So it looks like maybe it was like from the very beginning where they're doing like a little bit of a tech demo, maybe, or just getting their ducks in a row. And funny, Wingspan and ducks in a row. I amuse myself, even if I don't amuse you. But so you see at the very beginning, Elizabeth comment in this. It's called Up Up Down Down is the WWE wrestlers YouTube channel, and she goes, I'm not seeing everybody. I'm only seeing Biz Nasty or whoever. I think that's even a hockey player. I got that wrong, but like it was so funny hearing her use whatever their wrestling screen names was. It was I think the wrestler is Xavier Woods. I could be wrong. Like I said, I don't super follow wrestling, but anyway, I didn't get to watch the full video yet, but what I watched was really funny. I don't know if it was funny because they were intentionally joking, but like these guys take any game seriously, right? They're intense in some aspects, and someone mentions when someone in particular lost, like they were really sour about it. So I can't wait to see the rest of that. So please check it out. Hopefully I didn't overhype it, but it was one of those things that made me smile this week, and it was Stonemaier adjacent, so I wanted to share it with you guys, and gals and others. But the last thing I have, and maybe this is the most exciting, I don't know, but Jamie is very tight-lipped about what's coming next for Stonemaier Games in terms of, like, he doesn't like to go too far out and give away too much. And you'll often, but like on his Wednesday live streams where people are just throwing questions at him, sometimes he lets his guard down a little bit, right? And one of those times happened just this Wednesday live stream when he dropped a little bit of information about Rolling Realms that I hadn't heard it yet. And in fact, when I asked him about it on the YouTube in the descriptions, he goes, yeah, maybe that was a leak. But he mentions how Rolling Realms is meant to be played, and because someone had asked about a roll and write and whether they should, I think it was whether they should print the roll and write for Rolling Realms, and Jamie mentioned, the final version, the retail version that's going to be coming out, the way it's going to work is you're going to go ahead and shuffle these cards and then deal them out, and that's how you're going to, decide which realms you're going to be playing in. And I go, cards, huh? So I'm wondering if these cards, like, are they just cards that like say what realm you're playing with, and then you have like a pad of paper, like a lot of roll and writes do? Is it possible that you have like dry erase, but then if you had dry erase, like, because there's roll and writes that have dry erase, like Qwixx comes to mind. It's a dice rolling game, and you make comments. Check it out. We really like it in my family, Qwixx. Heck, I'll post a link to that too. I don't know why. If you're unfamiliar and you can't find what I'm talking about, there you go. You'll be able to find it in the description. But in any case, so that is a game where you have cards that you write on. So but then you would need one for every player, right? So then I wasn't sure if that would be the case. So I am wondering if it's just like you lay out the card and then you write on a pad of paper. I guess we'll see. But I was excited to see him get caught up in the whole you shuffle the cards thing. And now that I'm like kind of puzzling it out right on camera, I go, is that really as exciting of a detail as I thought it was? And I don't know, I still enjoyed it. So hopefully you will too. That is really all I had for you in terms of Stonemaier news this week. And so now I have kind of a mill-related question or comment. So last week, I did a video, talking about, I don't even remember what I talked about last week, except for I had a script, and I used a teleprompter, and I know just right off that I talked really fast, and I didn't need to, but I think just having the word in front of me really helped me know where I was going to go next. Sometimes I'll sit here and I'll talk to you guys, especially when, my wife's not on the other side of the camera, and I feel like, I'm taking her time up when it's just me and my own, phone here recording video. I feel like I'm a little more free to take my time, and maybe I meander a little bit, which like I'm doing right now. But so having that script and having that scroll by, like it felt really good to remove the uhs and ums and stuff like that, man, I want to be rid of, but I am just not. Especially if there's are particular bullet point items that I want to hit, I just have a difficult time with it. So without getting, too far into the weeds, I want to know how you felt about that last video, if you happen to watch it. If you didn't, hey, no problem. But if you did, let me know what you thought, because just to be perfectly honest, I'm still going to use the teleprompter. It really helped me out when I have a lot of information to present and I really want to do a good job of making sure I use the right terminology, or I was talking about the Stonemaier newsletter last week. When I want to touch on certain bullet points and I just want it to be concise and I don't want to search for words, that's one of those things that I'll use the teleprompter for. But like, I'm wondering if maybe I just need to adjust in terms of not doing an entire script instead just, maybe putting bullet points, because the software I grabbed for it actually does listen to my voice and, identifies the words. And so I can go off script and it'll stay in place for me, but I can also, stop and it stops. So that's one of those things I wanted to know. Was it really aggravating for you? Was, that I talk so fast? Was it, oh, I didn't even notice? Although I do think it's probably difficult to notice if you watch me week after week, or, even semi-regularly, to go, wow, he really had his act together today. What was going on? Get some medication. But no, I didn't. And yes, I did have it together because it was all scripted ahead of time. One thing I really do like about having the teleprompter is I can very easily just copy my script into YouTube. And it's nice to be able to have closed captioning for those who, can't watch it, or, require that additional, non-Google-fied, transcript. I really like that. And it's not something that I have time to do on my own. I do heavily depend on YouTube to generate those, but I like having them there. I want that accessibility to be there. So just some stuff to think about. Maybe I didn't need to put this out there at all, but I did anyway. So if you have any thoughts about it, let me know in the comments. I will, for my own self, I'm going to ask that you please be constructive and kind in the way you put it together. Because, we've reached a year of quarantine, and I've spent just a ton of time at home, and, I think I'm right at that place where, like, any little thing I could just be like, I'm done with this. Or, and it's not anything, related to the show. It's just like, I think sometimes, when you're creating anything, not just like YouTube videos, but anything you're creating, I think sometimes you're just at a place where that criticism is going to be difficult to accept. So I'm not saying don't criticize. I'm just asking you to please, if you have something to offer me, that you phrase it in such a way that it comes across the way you mean to, kind and constructive. And that would mean a lot to me, because I do really want to know how you feel, and good and bad. But just Dusty, you suck. It doesn't help so much. I don't know what I can do about that. It is what it is. So that is all I have for you this week. I guess I would be irresponsible if I didn't ask you to please think of, the Asian American and Pacific Islanders after the tragedy that was those 8 killed in Atlanta. I think we have to take a deep look at ourselves and who we're becoming, because we don't want to be that. I hope that if you watch me and you are of Asian descent or Pacific Islander or anyone in that community, I hate to just say my thoughts and prayers go out. They do, but it feels like there's more that I could do. So if there is, please feel free to let me know. I'm just thinking about it. It bothers the hell out of me, that we can't just love each other and take care of each other, especially in this country where we have so much. I know I have people from all over that watch, but I think it's true of almost everywhere. We're very lucky to be on this spinning blue marble, floating in space, and still able to have these relationships with each other. Just take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Please. Thanks for watching.